We have a new sponsor supporting the show. It is The Bangman, who is a new startup and have been operating since June this year, delivering a variety of hobby packs in a single box at an affordable price. So far, they've delivered some huge hits. The biggest one they've pulled so far is a Steph Curry Signatures Gold Auto to 10, which came out of the July edition. Some comps have been rounded up to about 15k AUD, which was verified by Card Letter. So if you're not familiar with what the Bangman is and what their product is offering, it's basically an assortment of hobby packets put into a box at an affordable buy, and you can then open a variety of different hobby packs. Some of the advantages of buying into a product such as this is that you can sample a whole bunch of different products. Another way to think of it is doing your own break at home. The advantage of the Bangman's product is you are purchasing sealed, unsearched hobby packs as opposed to a single card repack product that has a huge range in value. Just to make the clear delineation between the Bangman's product and any traditional repack, when you buy into a Bangman product, you are getting the guarantee of the Panini seal, and then all of the hits then come out of sealed products. So all the numbered cards, if appropriate for the product, rookie patch autographs, signature cards, and of course those super short prints and case hits. Another key point for the Bangman product is that they have an assortment of different hobby packs in a custom box at two different price points, one being a gold edition and the other being a silver edition. Each month, the Bangman changes up the pack so it's not the same constant lineup. For listeners of our podcast, we have an exclusive deal for you. Use promo code youcantcompthis to get a $15 discount off your next purchase. Find the Bangman on Instagram, the.bang.man, and on Facebook, The Bangman. Thank you so much, Amir and Team Bangman. Welcome, everybody, to episode 124 of the You Can't Comp This NBA podcast. I'm your host, Russell Gibson, and this week, unfortunately, Adam is away. He's having some long-deserved annual leave from the show, and he'll be back next week. He'll be back on board. So, guys, don't stress about that for 2 seconds. You're not stuck with me in permanence. And to slightly make up for Adam's absence, we've got a shrew of guests this week. So we've got Matt Tabe from Mr Court Kings. We've got John O'Michaels from Mailman Breaks. And with me right now, we've got Mr Ross Taunton from US Sports Cards Australia. Ross, how are you today?
Good evening, mate. Good.
What have you been up to hobby-wise?
Hobby-wise, obviously, to begin with, yes, my name's Ross. I'm from US Sports Cards Australia, which is, I'm one of the founding members when we first started this project back in 2017, 2016.
You say you're one of the founding members. Weren't you the founding member?
Myself, two other gentlemen were part of it.
Yeah, right.
And then they both bailed, and then I went looking for other admin to jump in and move forward from there.
Right, yeah, because I came on a bit later and I didn't see those two guys. In the start, right?
We had three of us. We had a handshake agreement between all of us. Some things turned a little bit for sour. Some people just bailed out because of family commitments, which we all understand with this hobby. So then I went hunting for some other people who knew more about their niche market than I knew about their niche market, because there is no way you can know everything about every sport in this hobby alone. It's
impossible.
It's impossible. Too much.
Yeah, breakers that do multiple sports, that really does amaze me, actually, because I feel like, I do NBA full time, like in terms of, my waking hours, podcasts and consuming NBA material, and I still feel like I can't keep up with, the players and the releases and what's happening on and off the court. So yeah, if you've got guys who are doing baseball but I also wonder if they just learn very quickly about the hobby relevance of like the important baseball players and the important NFL, maybe they don't know like the niche players, within a product.
I agree. Completely agree. There is that they know those key names.
Yeah.
And, that's why you do see those breakers, they go berserk, they hit the button, bing, bing, bing. These players come out and they go berserk about it.
They know the liquid players.
Correct. Yeah. That is exactly right. But the deep down of it, to know the nitty gritty, that's a true breaker to myself. And that's why to talk about it, having a personal friendship with you, you know your stuff, mate. And it's beautiful to see when you break. It's communication. It's entertainment. It's good.
Thank you. Thank you for your kind words. So I completely interrupted you. You started US Sports Cards. You had two guys bail out. Then you met Paros. So I think you should probably tell the not tell the world, but you should have a brief spiel about Paros because
So I had Jamie and another gentleman. He's honestly, his name's completely flaked me now. So
don't worry. We don't
it's
need names.
It's a good feeling.
Yeah.
But so I had just a phone call one day from one of the members, and it was Michael, and he just said, "Hey mate, I know you run the page. I'm looking for some cards. Can you give me a hand?" And then basically he started every night every second night would have a phone call. To nearly every night we'll have a phone call to the point where my wife is laying in bed with me. Yeah, so he became part of the family really quickly. So I'd be driving home from work with the kids in the car and my boys would go, Uncle Michael's on the phone, So it became pretty family orientated from there on in.
Yeah. You've built up this break page and now you've sort of begun to move outside of the break page. So tell us about your next project. That you're currently working on, because this is the main reason why I'm bringing you on today.
100%. I completely agree to talk about it. So yes, we've taken a twist on words from the COMC, or check out my collection that everyone knows over in America with the red logo. You go on there, you go card shopping. It started with myself buying singles overseas.
So I'll just pull you up there for 2 seconds. Just explain to people how COMC works, because there'll be definitely some people out there that
don't know it.
Don't know about COMC.
Yeah.
Most people do, but not all. Yeah.
No. So comc.com, type it in, you'll go find it. This page has 40 million separate single cards on it.
Yeah.
And these are
insane.
People, it's immense. I still go shopping on there today.
Yeah.
Because the amount of stuff and the time, the effort I can save by going shopping on there, and the shipping as well, to get the card sent straight home or to my third-party shipper, you save immense money. Sitting on eBay in America to buy one card off, Mr. Big Z and, the next person, the shipping fees rack up.
So just to highlight that point, what happens is sellers will post all of their cards into COMC, and then COMC will basically put them through like their inventory process of scanning the card in and then also cataloging it accurately. Like they're very good at that. And then they hold your cards until the point of purchase. And then when you're buying cards off COMC, your cards are held in their inventory until you create a mail day or a mail request. And then they put all the cards in together and then post them out to everyone. So that's just taking on your point there. That's how
basically,
save on shipping. Yeah.
One card to 5,000 cards. They don't care how many you're ordering at once or shipping home.
Yeah.
They'll take it all. And they actually have a side project with Upper Deck as well that people don't actually know about. So Upper Deck have an electronic version, the eDeck.
Yeah,
so
sure.
You can actually go on there and actually purchase decks, and some cards are actual physical items.
Yeah, right.
And you can ship them directly to COMC.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So you have your online version where you can muck around, trade online cards like the non-fungible ones between each other.
Yeah.
But the real versions you can actually send for free to COMC and then take them home, which is really cool.
Yeah, okay.
But myself, in Australia, we don't have that. We don't have somewhere where we can all go and dump all our cards.
Yeah.
And create that market. Like, I said, if you're looking to fill a set out and you're looking for that one base card, number 87 of Ja Morant or whatever it's got to be, and the guy's charging $8 shipping to get that base card over, you're sitting going, man, that's a lot of money just to finish off my set. So for myself, it's, okay, how do we make an inventory catalog in Australia for Australians for our market?
Yep.
That's what I'm looking at, because we don't have it for AFL. We don't have it for NRL and those other items that the USA do not have.
So how are you going to interact with people and get this up and running?
So at the moment, I've got 2 active members who are helping me, or I'm uploading their cards at the moment.
Yeah.
They're all just slowly uploading. I'm getting them all done for them. How am I going to get as in members on board?
Yeah. So how do you see this like growing out? Because So we had a very brief conversation of you're about at the 2,000 card mark.
Yeah, about 2,000 card mark.
COMC sitting at
40 million.
Yeah. How do you close that gap? Yeah.
How do we close the gap? It's working with the community in Australia.
And just a slight segue for this. So COMC, I actually think they are not slouches. So there was a period of time where the customer service at COMC wasn't fantastic, and that was during the peak of the pandemic, where there was very long wait times to get your cards shipped out, and there was sort of some communication lags, like, they weren't responding to emails when people were sending through customer service, and they've resolved, if not the majority of that, they've resolved all of it. But they've also now recently just gone in a direct partnership with eBay. So you can list your cards on COMCA, and then there's basically like a 2-click process where you then can sell it on eBay. And they also get promoted listings, built into that. They've also got like reduced fees associated with like, listing with COMCA and eBay. And then they also now, that's probably not the right thing to say. You've always been able to do this, but they're trying to highlight and make this easier. You don't have to pay for shipping on your COMCA eBay purchases. You can do eBay COMCA to COMCA direct transfer. You just log into your COMCA account and you can do that too. So look, I think if you're talking about, the viability of a company, and you're talking about the health, the future health of the hobby, this is the type of moves that, I think are really important for the hobby, because, people rag on eBay all day and they'll say how bad it is. But like, I'm telling you, I've just come back from America, and I went to a significant amount of effort to visit hobby stores. And I can confidently say there was 3 hobby shops that had cards available in boxes for me to flick through. And there was only one hobby shop where I spent a significant amount of money, which was Burbank in LA. And that was sick. That was just like an amazing experience. And then I'll probably describe the rest of my experiences in hobby shops to be mediocre. And I think part of the reason why I feel like my experience was mediocre is because eBay is so good. Like, the volume of cards that you've got on there. And also now that they've improved their back-end processes to really support, I think, the buyer, and maybe they've gone too far with that. So now they've sort of swung it back a bit for the seller. COMCA is the other thing that, is a fantastic shopping experience. And then probably also too, if I can be honest with you, like the Hobby Hangout in Australia, that was better than any hobby shop that I went to in my entire US trip.
I was in Melbourne on that day, but I was flying out at 10 o'clock in the morning. How much I wanted to get there and go do the Hobby Hangout. I was down for the ice hockey event, obviously, which was at LA versus the Coyotes.
Yeah, sweet.
It was an amazing event, and I knew the Hobby Hangout was on, but it was back on the plane and head home. So
yeah,
was it that weekend? Or it might have it was Michael's 40th actually. It was Michael's 40th.
Yeah,
get in, get out. So yeah, it would have been amazing, because we just don't get that up here on the Gold Coast.
Yeah, I wonder if they will start to expand it out. So they do Sydney, they do Melbourne.
There is one in Brisbane, but I don't think it's huge.
Yeah.
It's a few vendors to begin with, and I hopefully one day it will grow. I do know a few shop owners do go to it up here. They actually travel down from Harvey Bay, things like that, to actually get there. But like a Hobby Hangout, we do need that up here on the Gold Coast.
Maybe that's your next business venture.
Well, when you were touching on COMCA with eBay,
yeah. So let's go back to that.
No, absolutely. Our version actually automatically lists to eBay.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So it already has that function in there. I'm just working at the back end at the moment to do with when the fees are coming out, who's getting what, who's paying what. So that's one thing I do have to work out those fundamentals with.
Yeah.
But it can automatically list to eBay. So I do it. It's a 2-click process. I go in, click on, they automatically basically sit there ready to go, and all I have to press is go, and off they go. So it's really good.
Yeah.
But the fundamentals of the project is more so when we talk about community, it's I want to work with the breakers around Australia.
Let's talk about that. I think this is a really interesting point. Yeah.
So for myself, I actually had a phone call early today with one of our local breakers in Australia, and just ran the idea past him to get his ideas on what he believes in, and if it's a good idea, and he was all on board, which was great. So myself,
you should name this guy, put this guy on blast, to be honest.
Well, his name's Joe Dennison. Yeah. So Joe's a good person. Russell,
he's a good guy.
He is a good guy. So it was a good conversation. He was he took the time out of his day. He goes, I'm just packing at the moment. He goes, I do need a break. So we probably spent 15 minutes just running ideas back and forth, and it's a good conversation. But what I want to do is, in Australia, we have a lot of segregation between different pages, and we know it happens that, some people like breaking with some people, but for myself, for the COMCA version, to be able to work with all the breakers and say, look, if your members don't want their cards sent home because there's a handful of base cards, you can send them over. We'll upload, scan them to their profile for free. That means they can go on there, they can price their own cards when they want to, and the card sells, everyone's a winner. Because I know there's so many members, especially on our page, who have thousands of base cards just sitting at home doing nothing.
Yeah.
and no one knows they're there. They're in storage boxes. They're hiding. I've been going through all the cards that we have in the store basically, and I found a sneaky little Ja Morant for $8 the other day. I found another a LeBron James that's worth $14. I just went on done some quick searching. These cards you don't even know you've got them,
Yeah.
and it's hiding. You can sell these cards, turn that cash back into whatever you want to do with it again.
Yeah.
You can go back into breaks again. You can put the money, take the wife out for a coffee, whatever. These cards are hiding. And truthfully, yes, there is value to them. There's sentimental value at one side, and there's also the value that some of us believe in as a tradable item.
Yeah. And if you're collecting sets, this is exactly, where you're going with this type of stuff. And
100%. And it doesn't matter if you want to list a card for 5 cents or 45 cents or $45. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It will be listed. And let the community of Australia know that you've got these cards available.
Yeah.
Because I said, you've no different to yourself, Russell. Over your right shoulder there's boxes with thousands of cards in there. You probably don't even know what's in there anymore.
Oh, I've got no idea. My memory's... I can vaguely remember what I had for lunch today. That's about as far as my memory goes back.
And that's how it is, So for me, I want to work with everyone in Australia.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the person who hides out and there's no contact. We need to continue to grow our hobby in Australia.
Yeah.
And that's communicating with each other.
Yeah, look, I think you spoke about a few things that I just wanted to touch on. I think you're speaking about breakers are a bit segregated. I think part of that is because it is quite hard to collaborate with people. And
brutal.
I think also too, breakers, it's really interesting. There's so many different breakers out there, and I feel like the ones who are now currently surviving have got their own flavor, or they've got their own angle, or they've got their own thing that they do. Because if you sort of look at the different, breakers that are out there, they all definitely do approach it from a very different way.
I was thinking about it today, and it doesn't matter if it's a random or it's a draft or whatever it is. Keeping the public entertained, that's what it's about.
Yeah.
Is make it enjoyable. I collect cards because I enjoy collecting cards, not just because it's a business or a business model. I enjoy collecting cards. I enjoy going through them with my kids. It's enjoyable. And to go to the breakers who are doing something different, I enjoy that too. Because they're bringing a bit of flair to the hobby.
Yeah. I think the other thing that I just want to touch on that you mentioned about too, I had an old mate ring me today, just literally out of the blue, and we were having a conversation. He was talking about finishing some old Skybox set. Like, there are people out there that do want to, finish sets, and I need to get onto COMCA and finish a couple of sets myself. That was like one of my New Year's resolutions. So I'll be out there, finishing sets. And I think the other thing too that you spoke about was the liquidity. So John O'Michael spoke about this today, and this will be on the next podcast. And his whole, thing about that, and even Matt Tabe, who's going to be coming on after you today too, he also spoke about the exact same thing. It's about just getting that money, turning it around, and then literally putting it back. The 99% of it goes back into the hobby. So into
the Australian market.
Yeah.
When to reflect back on when US Sports Cards Australia first started, we had people from around the world on our page. And I sat there as an admin watching that all the members, the Australian members, were just pouring money into these Europeans and Americans and things like that to buy their cards. And then when they were going to try and sell back to them, they'll say, no, we're not interested. We're only here to sell our stuff, take the money and disappear. And I sort of went, it's kind of like you keep taking money out of the pot, it eventually runs out. Whereas to be able to take $1 from this person, give it to yourself, Russell, and that dollar goes around.
Yeah.
It can go a long way then.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. Final thoughts about this project, Roscoe. Where do you see it being in the next, say, 3 to 6 months? Where are you going to be at?
Next 3 to 6 months. I'm meeting with a dev. Well, I've got 2 developers at the moment I'm working with at the moment. One of the devs is the marketplace, the app, because we use Shopify as our host for our website.
Yeah.
So I'm working with a dev at the moment to try and allow for the breaker. So the whole idea I'm trying to work with the breakers is to get a small commission for themselves when they send the cards over.
Yeah.
So when they send the cards, I can upload them. When that card sells, they can generate a 1% commission or whatever it's going to be for doing that work. And so it's kind of giving back to them for joining in. The other developer I'm working with is more so you kind of your card ladder kind of idea. So you can go on the website, pay the subscription, and you can look at all the cards, and it'll give you an idea if that card is over or undervalued.
Yeah.
To me, someone who, yes, I do flip at times. I do like a good flip.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. That helps me buy my next card for my next person, and we all know it.
It's some people consider it a dirty thing. You're talking to the wrong person, man. There's nothing wrong with buying and selling cards. It's really not a dirty thing.
I don't. I mean, I bought a card recently. It was a year ago, and I made a $30 profit on this year. And I'm fine with that. It's nothing wrong with that. What have I done with the money? It's actually gone into my project car, which is one of my hobbies outside of this. But I had the card. I enjoyed my time with it. I looked at it. I held it. I moved it on to someone else who wants to go play with it now. So and I believe that's what we need to do. But working with that developer as well is really good. Hopefully 3 to 6 months. Yes, we will be open to start receiving more cards off members. I have a list of people who are lined up to get into the project. At the moment, I've got to shut down to a very limited people just so I can slowly work through the processes and get rid of all the little nitty-gritty bugs. But yeah, probably 6 months we might see some activity on there. I might even be at the hobby hangout one day myself as a little stall to talk to people about the idea of it, which would be good.
So can you give me a link and I'll put that into the podcast description so that people can click on it and then contact you, or what's the way? Because I feel like, well, I would hope that there'll be at least one person that will listen to the podcast and then, want to reach out to you about this, because
100%.
Yeah.
I'll send you some stuff later tonight. So you can email the link to the website. They can sign themselves up straight away.
Yeah.
And sit there on the waiting list ready to go.
So realistically too, what's the waiting list looking like at the moment? Just so we don't undersell or oversell people.
Well, basically, once I click a button that says, yes, I'm going to happy to pay my fees per month for unlimited members, I'm good to go.
Okay.
So I'm just keeping my fees low at the moment whilst I'm figuring out the bugs in the system and working with the devs to try and get rid of any issue that's going to pop up.
So each person you put on there, you have to pay a membership fee for?
100%.
Okay. So that's why at the moment you're not ready
very limited. And then basically all I do is click a button. We go unlimited. I can have as many members across Australia to join the page.
Sure.
I pay the outline fee each month.
Yeah. And
then away we go.
Yeah,
so
cool.
I'm more than happy to pay that. It's part and parcel of business, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right, isn't it? Yep.
Yep.
All right. So let's move on. So my favorite question at the moment is, talk to me about the post-hobby apocalypse. So the last 2 years, if you look at most of the card ladder graphs, they're not looking fantastic the last 2 years. How have you survived? How have you thrived? How have you interacted with the hobby, the last 2 years? Like, what have you done differently the last 2 years?
It's not that we've done different, but if you don't have the mindset of just to grind and you want to get in for quick cash and get out, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
If you're here for the hobby itself, you'll find ways to get through, the COVID inflation, the crash that, cards are seeing at the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, right across the board. I mean, I'm a hockey card collector. I don't just go on into basketball. We are seeing dips in our hockey, but not what I see with you guys on your podcast, where there's a lot of big dips with some of these big players. We haven't experienced that yet with a lot of our hockey players.
Yeah, you might not have also experienced the same rises. Is that fair to say?
No, but there was a couple of players that we did see those big spikes at the beginning, but it wasn't. It was hockey because it's such, not to use the word niche, it is a smaller market compared to the basketball.
Oh, 100%.
Where the money is just pouring through into the basketball. The flipping and the buying of the cards in your hobby there is massive compared to hockey. Hockey card collectors, I mean, Canadians are out of control for it. You're like, I can't even find a box in 2016 because I think they're all stored away in some Toronto Maple Leaf fans' den somewhere. You cannot get that stock anymore. It is gone.
Yeah.
Impossible to find. But coming out of COVID, the people that survived, I think they're the ones that are actually here for the hobby.
Yeah.
They don't just see it as a quick flip, get in, get out. They're here. They've got a marketplace, people that they work with. They've got their connections. They've got their friends. They've got their groups that they all work with. And that's how they're able to move through such a volatile market, especially such a volatile time as what that COVID done.
Yeah. I think your mindset had to adapt, because what it was and then what it is now is it really is, two completely contrasting environments. You're talking about margins, you're talking about the speed of your fills, you're talking about, your box prices, all that type of stuff. And then, look, I got to be honest with you, there was parts of COVID that, I really enjoyed, like the speed of fills. Of course, that's lovely when things fill quickly, but there was also parts of it for me too. You knew those guys putting in money that just weren't getting, very much back. And I think that's the part.
The return on investment.
Yeah, the part now that I'm actually enjoying, more post-COVID. And I know this is like a funny thing to say, but, box prices are what? 50% less, sometimes 60% less. Like that's...
Some of our boxes in the hockey market are still capped out as high end. It's brutal. So, I mean, some of our high end, like the cup, pre-COVID, you're talking $400-$500 a box.
What's that selling for now?
$1,200 US.
Yeah, right. And they've just held at that price, have they?
When COVID hit, it went up to about $1,000 to $1,200.
Yeah.
And then since then, they haven't dropped it. It is holding right across the board.
Yeah, right.
So to fill a breakout like that, and we were getting our wholesale at a time, but even working with the wholesale at the moment can be pretty brutal.
Yeah. Where do you see the next 2 years of the hobby going, and where do you see yourself fitting into that?
Well, this could be a bullet, this one, couldn't it? This is recorded. So I see the Check Out My Cards Australia side as filling a hole in our market.
Yeah.
Somewhere for us, and I use the word us, by all means, I'm not one of these high-end big ballers that buy $1,000 boxes. I am the little single guy that buys my $1, $5, $10 cards.
Yeah.
I love buying those cards because it's enjoyable. You can buy a whole bunch and go through them all together. I believe that my project or our project is definitely warranted in the Australian market across all sports, not just basketball, baseball, ice hockey. I'm talking about the Australian market as well with your AFL and your NRL and stuff like that. I believe we need to give this market a real good crack. So we do have our high-end breakers. We have our middle-end breakers. We've got somewhere to go shopping for our singles.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I've gone to Melbourne twice. I've been to Melbourne the last 6 months. Both times I have visited Cherry, and I sit there and go through the singles boxes because I don't get the availability to do that.
Yeah.
Raffle on through, go have a look, and I thoroughly enjoy that.
Yeah.
We all enjoy doing that. That's what we're all here for. We enjoy that little chase, that looking for that card that I just need to finish that set or whatever it is. It's enjoyable to be able to do that and to have a website to go to in Australia to know that that card is actually only 2 days away, 3 days away is needed.
Yep. Yeah. I think the market here has definitely matured to it, and it's definitely grown.
100%.
Yeah.
Compared to what it was, go back 5-6 years ago, it was Cowboys and Indians. It was the wild, wild west still. Breakers have matured. Our cameras, our microphones, our software we're all maturing along the way. We're using the American market as a catalyst to work off, and we're trying to find improvements on that to give our Australian members or our Australian market something to look forward to that's Australian.
Yeah. Alrighty, man. Final thoughts. What have you got for me?
Final thoughts.
Yeah.
My final thoughts is, how is Fanatics going to change the face of this market? And I still every day sit there looking in the palms of my hands going, what is going to happen when this takeover happens? Complete takeover. It's so hard to gauge. And I talk to anyone who I talk to, everyone's in the same position who's not in the know. What is next?
Yeah.
A lot of us are sitting here still today thinking, what do we do next?
Yeah. I think the two things that they're going to really change for the hobby in general is, I think the marketing side of it is just going to be like completely next level. And I do wonder if, at the end of the day, let's just take aside the business approaches.
Are you talking the Kmart kind of in your face, what they're probably going to go towards?
So hold the Kmart thought for a second, because I think that's a separate thing altogether. But where I'm going with this is, let's just take aside the business approaches from Panini and Fanatics. I think you can argue both sides aren't fantastic and maybe not always ethical, right? On both sides. So let's just sort of call that even.
That's business.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I think what's pretty fair to say, particularly now with hindsight, is the way that Panini's marketed cards, I think they've done a lot on organic growth, and they've done it.
Panini been amazing. I love Panini products, and hockey fans, because we're tied to Upper Deck. Panini products are so good. Upper Deck do have their good products, but I wish hockey was Panini.
I think sometimes people do let that escape them when they do criticize Panini, that they literally took over something that no one wanted the licenses, and that's how they got the exclusive license for NBA. Is that there was literally not another person that applied for it, so, and I'm probably oversimplifying that, entire sort of application piece, but that is also like the crux of it. And then they have just made some, really nice products. And the other thing they've done too is they've created price points all the way through from, $1 to $30,000. And I think, really when you think about that, it's quite brilliant.
It covers everyone.
But I think the marketing is what let them down, and maybe they could have actually grown it more. Look, maybe they couldn't have serviced that need. That also could, like, they're 12 months behind on delivery at the moment. But I think I've just come back from America, and that is the thing that's in my face the most, was the marketing for gambling over there and the marketing from Fanatics. Like, you see advertisements from Fanatics. Look, it could have just been me that I was noticing it because, I'm keyed into Fanatics, or it could be that they're spending a bucket of money on.
Are you talking at the game, or are you talking watching
at
on
the
TV?
Games, on TV, on buses, on signs, when you're driving the car down the street, there's Fanatics advertising. So the other thing that they're into now too is gambling. So Fanatics have entered into the gambling world. And, my current sort of, you can call it theory or conspiracy theory, is that they're going to combine these two marketing streams in together, card breaking, box selling, and also gambling, betting lines, right?
Talk about the gambling side of things. When we first opened up our Shopify account, and we were putting our breaks up on there, so people had an avenue to buy through the breaks by using their credit card, their debit pay cards, and all that kind of stuff. I was actually had a phone call. Shopify actually rang me for a phone conversation about classifying breaks as gambling, and they were like, "If this continues, they're going to shut it down."
Yeah.
But then I think Shopify turned around and looked at how many websites. I mean, I think during COVID, Shopify had an increase of about 400 or 500% of businesses opening online during the COVID period. And I'm not saying that was all breakers, but a lot of breakers went that way to open up a shop online to get the avenue of, the cash flow coming in.
Yeah.
And I think Shopify had to stand back and go, we're going to have to just take this one on the chin for now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's driving revenue for their product.
Business is business at the end of the day, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. Look, I mean, I think it's an episode to itself, whether you think breaking is gambling or not. I personally don't think it is. That's my personal opinion. But I also wouldn't particularly disagree with one if they laid out to me, a very succinct argument that, it is gambling.
Yeah. I don't know if my side, I agree with you on the point that I don't want Calgary Flames cards in my collection. There's no way I could have a Calgary Flame card in my collection because my passion for my team is so extent that I'm sorry, that is my mortal enemy. So when I go into a break, I buy my team, or I chase that rookie card, or the second or third rookie who, Logan Cooley came over during LA versus Arizona, and Logan Cooley scored one of the most amazing goals you've seen. And at the moment, I think he's about fourth or fifth in the runnings right at the moment for rookie of the year. And I'd like to collect that kid. He's an amazing player.
Yeah.
So I will buy the Arizona cards. They are usually pretty cheap. And I'm going to buy into it for the chance that I get some nice cheap cards, and I'm not buying a whole box for $300, $400, $500.
Yeah.
And it gives me the chance, in theory, to go into 10, 15, 20 breaks instead of buying that one box and getting everything I don't want.
That's the way, to be honest, I look at it too, is that I can get the team that I want, and then I can go into 10 breaks. And so what do you want? Do you want to go into 10 breaks, or do you want to buy one box? And I think that is definitely the part of it for me. And I probably also say too, the other reason why I don't think it is gambling per se is that, yes, you can turn break returns into cash, but for that to happen, a whole other range of things have to happen. Whereas when you're gambling, as soon as the event's over, the money's back in your account and you can reload that bet, straight away. So I think that's probably the other thing too. And I
mean, you could buy a box and then send all the cards you don't want to check out My Cards Australia. They could get uploaded there.
3 months later, you might get some money in your account. Jesus,
But hey, look, that's the whole premise of the conversation tonight.
Yeah, sure. We've completely segued, haven't we? So good.
I love it.
Good recoil. Alrighty, mate. Let's tie this off, eh? And
beautiful.
Thank you so much for coming on board today. I'm so happy that it's really been 2 years since we've sort of chatted about you coming in and coming on. So thank you so much. And I think what we should probably do now is just introduce our next guest, which will be Matthew Tabe. So thanks, Ross. Thank you so much again.
No, thank you all. Thank you for listening, everyone. And thank you, Russell, for the wonderful podcast that yourself and Adam run. It's great.
Thanks, mate. I really appreciate all your support and the kind words. That's awesome. Thank you to our sponsor, EJ Cards, a small but motivated company specializing in cards. EJ Cards believe passionately in great bargains and excellent service, which is why they commit themselves to give you the best of both. If you're looking for something new, you're in the right place. EJ Cards strive to be industrious and innovative, offering customers something they want, putting their desires at the top of the priority list. Find EJ Cards at www.ejcards.com.au. So we've got a very special guest coming on the show this week. It is Matt, or Matthew Tabe, from Mr Court Kings. So Matt, please say hello and tell us a little bit about yourself and your hobby perspective.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Hello, Adam. I'll say good day to Adam as well.
We probably should say hi to Adam, shouldn't we? He's not here this week, but he will definitely be back very, very shortly.
A bit about myself. I'm just an average tradie in SA, just does cards on the side for fun, pretty much. Grandfather now, as of 2 weeks ago.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you. Started collecting about 2018, just about everyone. I think it was, I watched the Cardboard Connection, that little doco that was around with Grayson and Sports Car World and all that. That popped up on my Foxtel or something.
Yeah, right.
And I went, holy crap, I used to collect cards. And I just Facebooked cards and found actually Blood Collections in Queensland as my first few breaks with him. And
yeah, right.
That was it from there, pretty much. And then just connected to everything else after that and just haven't gone away. Still here.
So you jumped back into breaks, or did you start buying boxes? And
I jumped back into breaks because they were like $4 a spot back then. But I think what I did was I got connected to...
So you're going in the blunt, because they were doing Prism Blaster boxes for $4.20 a spot, weren't they?
Oh, they were so cheap.
Yeah.
Back then. But he connected me through to 2K... What's his name? SJ2K. He connected me through to him, and I just bought a ton of 90s stuff just to try and hit Jordans just for fun.
Yeah.
So I was buying a shit ton of $6, $5 packs, $4 packs, and just getting like 10 at a time, and I'd just sit there and just try and hit Jordans, and that's what I started doing at once. And then after I did that for a bit, I got in the breaks, and that's what got me into the modern players and the modern sets. And I went, oh, I like that one, and I like that one.
Yeah.
So I'll do that.
So before you got back into the hobby, were you collecting Jordans already?
I couldn't afford to when I was younger.
Yeah.
It was more so you just go to the local shop and just buy packets. And I think we did have a shop in Murray Bridge. Two lads opened it up in the early 90s. And like you pulled any Jordan, it was like, wow.
Yeah.
Back then. And Shaq was fresh and new. I remember buying a pack for $6. I hit a Shaq Rising Stars back then. And I sold it to him for $80 on the spot in the shop.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it was crazy. You just get a fold. I think I was Mark Price. I liked him, and Dan Marjorie.
Yeah.
Just no one else collected them, and they were good. No, Dan's got one of the best 3-point percentages in the NBA.
He would be very good in today's game, I think.
He would be very good, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he was over 40% from three.
He was a good athlete. Could play 2-3. Maybe he could be a stretch 4 these days, almost, right?
Yeah, well, see, we didn't get to watch a lot of basketball, but we only had that Saturday morning NBA after the NBL show. That's when we got to watch NBA.
Yeah.
The NBL show on Saturday. I can't remember his name. And you always play the Jordan's games or the bigger teams.
Yeah. We did see a bit of Sunzo, didn't we? Because of like that whole Bulls
Barkley
connection.
and that. Yeah, I had a Suns jersey. I was a bit of a Barkley fan.
Yeah.
But to be honest, mate, since I had kids, right through till 2018, I didn't watch any NBA. I just nothing.
Yeah.
So I've missed that whole what happened through that whole 15 years.
Yeah.
So I'm just sort of jumping back in now.
Yeah.
So really, I've missed whole careers.
So you went from like Jordan to LeBron, did you basically?
Pretty much. Not even the start of LeBron.
Yeah.
Like most of Kobe, I didn't watch a lot of that. You'd see it on the internet or something like that, but never sat down and watched NBA games for all that time.
Yeah.
Too busy raising kids and doing other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's time consuming.
It's like something just this cards thing is just put it back into life again, which is good.
And what age? Sorry, last question about yourself before we move on. What age did you get back into it? Were you sort of nearly into your 40s?
I was in 40s.
Yeah, I reckon that's a very key age for coming back to collecting.
You just got that little bit of income that you can sort of say $50 a week, or I'd say no more than 100 a week or less. Like 40. Oh shit, what's it been? 6 years? Yeah, 40, 41. Yep.
So tell us about your collection of level 4s on the Court Kings.
Oh, that all started with bike collections. I hit a Wendell Carter Jr. and got the card and went, wow, it looks freaking amazing.
Yeah.
And then it just sparked that whole, I think I got a Jaren Jackson Jr. fresh paint. So that sort of got me that Court Kings thing. So the whole Court Kings thing started, and the level 4s are hard to get. They are case hits back then. Yeah, it just, I think it started with the level 1, 2, 3s first. Like I never really chased the 4s until later on, because obviously they're a lot cheaper 3 years down the track.
Yeah.
So you just have to be patient with stuff like that. Like the level 4s in sets now are $500 or something, which these would have been back then. Now I think 200, 180, maybe 300 for a good one.
Yeah.
But I've bought some for 50. Like, I've just got to find them. But it's, to my mind, it's visually the best card I've ever seen. That's why.
That's the 2018
level
4.
Level 4s.
Yep.
Yeah. The black with the gold. It's just awesome. That's my view on it anyway.
No, it's a beautiful piece. How many have you got left to do out of the set?
I think I've got 17 at the moment. I think one's a double. I've got 2 Chandler Hutchinsons. I think there's 40.
Right, okay.
40. So with the level 1, 2, 3s, there's about 40 in each one. That's a lot of rookies.
Yeah.
It's a lot of rookies.
It's a big chase, man.
It is. I think I've nearly completed the 1, 2, 3s. I've got about 5 cards left to go. So trying to find them without people taking advantage of you, because it's the only, you need 2 more, so they'll just go, well, I won't sell them for this, otherwise I'll sell them for more. You only need 2. They sort of do that.
Yep.
And then I come back with, well, I've been doing this set for 3 years. I'm in no rush, so thanks anyway. But as for the level 4s, I could probably pick up a Trae Young for about $1,200. The SGA is just about the same now. Luka, I know I've got all 9.5s in my 1, 2, 3 Luka Doncic, and that was just, I didn't even buy him for Luka. I bought it for the set. So when you sort of buy sets, you make a set, and all of a sudden some cards in that set the players turn out to be quite good.
Yeah,
it was one of those scenarios, and I got 9.5s on all of them. So I know Cherry have got a 9.5 level 4, but they want $30,000 for it.
Yeah.
They're the only one that's got it, so I want it. But
30K is,
that's crazy.
That's large, yeah.
And to find a raw one now, because I bet you they're all rated by now.
Yeah.
If they've all been found. I know where there's about 5 or 6 of them. So I think the print run was about 10, I'm not sure, for the level 4s.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. Or it's short print, but no one knows exactly the number.
Okay.
So
I always assumed it was around the sort of 25 to 35 mark, and then...
Well, I don't... It can't be, because the portraits are numbered. They go to 25, 35. So the way I look at it is the shortest print parallel was numbered to 25, in the portraits with the emerald, same as the other inserts.
Yeah.
So if you're going to have a super sort print in that run, it has to be less than 25. Otherwise, it's not. Does that make sense?
I agree with you, but I think also the reason why Panini left them as unnumbered is because
For that,
you don't really know.
don't really know.
Yeah. Do you know the person to talk to about this is Ryan from GemRate? I think he would have
Yeah.
enough data now that he could probably put this together and
Would
speculate
be
on.
interesting to work out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, with the Court Kings set, you get the internationals, which are in just blasters to Australia. I think, or I don't remember which other country, but they're shorter print as well.
Yeah.
Silver writing, not the gold.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So you actually grade them as international when you grade them.
Interesting.
We have to say it's international because I've got the level 1 international and I didn't write that down when I went to grade it. So I think someone put up, pop 1, 9.5 international. The only one ever. I said, no, I've got one. And I sent a photo, but I didn't put international on it.
I'm surprised the graders didn't pick that up.
Yeah, don't know. But I'm thinking about re-slabbing it with the international because it does increase the price a little bit.
Yeah.
Not that that's just for my set anyway, but yeah.
This next ad break is brought to you by Slambox, Australia's best value basketball repacks. Visit www.slambox.com.au to check out the latest series or join the Slambox Facebook page and message them directly. Slambox features big-name autos including Giannis, Zion, LaMelo, Banchero, Chet, Ja, Tatum, and more. Super short prints, case hits from a variety of different products including National Treasures, Flawless, Noir, Immaculate, Impeccable, and more. Slambox has different tiered product levels to cater for all budget levels and collector preferences. Thank you, Slambox, for your support. So the reason I reached out to you is because I wanted to do a segment about repacks because my whole thinking around repacks the last probably 8 to 12 months has changed a little bit. Originally, my thought was I never wanted to touch repacks. I didn't like the idea that someone else could basically manipulate the numbers and then...
Which they did at the start.
And misrepresent to products that, you could be buying into something thinking you're getting this when in fact, the chase card wasn't there or, the value wasn't there or something like this. But I think as time has passed and more cards are becoming available on the market, particularly in the last 2 years for a much cheaper price, I think it's easier for people to put together repacks that represent a little bit more value. And then I think also too, as time has marched on, now there's like a larger sample size to say, okay, these guys are building, very legit repacks. These guys are also doing good repacks, and these guys over here, okay, we probably know they're not the most fantastic. Let's avoid that. So I think there's also that, that component.
You've also got the aspect of boxes got so expensive to break. They needed something to break on their page.
Yeah.
To keep it running and keep it fun. So I think that's a good reason, another reason why they came in.
Yep. Yeah.
It's just product got too expensive and so let's just make something up we can open and have fun with.
Yeah, look, and I have to admit, that's probably the other thing too, is that, and it gets to the point where all you can afford to open is retail, and what are you better off opening, a retail blaster or, okay, let me rephrase that. Maybe you could get 2 blasters these days for one, say, $100 repack. And, the argument, you can definitely, now you could actually convince me to say you're actually better off to get a repack. So I think that's also in the other space too, where...
Especially if there's a hit in there, potentially could be, if that's the way the repack is, it's going to be $400 card in there.
Yeah.
You're not going to get that in your blaster, are you?
Well, maybe.
Depends what blaster it is, but...
You might get the Tiger Stripe out of Select or, a numbered card out of Prism. It's possible.
Still has to be graded to get that value.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's why I've reached out to you. So I want to hear your philosophies on repacks, and then I'm very happy for you to discuss your product. That would be, I think, also very appropriate in this space. And then, so basically, I'll just put the floor to you.
Philosophies. I don't want to comment too much on the higher end spectrum of the repacks or delve into that because that's their lane. I stick to the lower end. Look, they've got their place, but then also I do look at it and go, there's a lot of people that walk away upset depending on the value. I mean, there's a lot of repacks going around lower end that they just put base cards in there, which I think is wrong. But also the higher end stuff, the one cards, there's a lot of Yahoos, very little Yahoos, but a lot of, didn't even get close to my money back. So there's that aspect as well. But then you got the higher end stuff with the case hits, stuff like that. There are some nice cards in there, and that would take a lot of effort. And there are people that love to chase that stuff. Look, it's hard for me to, because I don't gamble, so it's hard for me to see that way. For me, I don't. It's a bit contradictory, but I don't buy repacks and stuff like that. As to my product, I think it would have been. I'm trying to think how long I've been doing them for now. It's definitely been over 2 years.
Yeah.
And I was just sitting around on the couch saying, I just got to find some niche, something to do, because I had all these inserts and rookies and stuff lying around, and I thought, I made up a 10-pack of just inserts and just rookies. And I think I just put them in a one touch with a business card in there and sold them as $10 or something. Or I think it was $10. It went okay, I think, and then I find the next shows, like every show I've just progressed that little bit on working out packaging and stuff like that, which my partner Kat's helped me out a lot with that. She's good with that sort of thing with her soap business. And then we found the gold packs, and then I had the idea of putting a hit in every packet. So if a kid buys a packet for $20, he's going to get all rookies and inserts plus a numbered card. And that's value for money for kids.
So
really.
What do you define as a hit? Is it a patch? Is it an autograph?
It's either a numbered card. It's a rookie patch. I've even got rookie patch autos in there. I've got just patches as well, but very rarely do I put just patches in. They have to have at least some kind of value. Like I'm not going to put. I've got Hoops, Rise and Shine, Patrick Williams, Nico Mannion, and that, but they're not game worn, so they don't go in. Like the clothes, not game worn. I try and stick to game worn or player worn at least. I know it's hard to get all on card, but at least it has to be player worn to make it into the thing. I've just gold package with the black sticker, and I think just longevity pays off in the end. Just sticking around. I don't give up. Just keep going. Don't try and improve it. Don't try and if it sells, it sells. Like I've been selling probably 30 to 40 packs a show, on average. And it's a way to sort of not making a lot off it, mainly my time. And it's you can sell every card for $1, or you can put them all together with a numbered card or a pack and sell them for $20. Recycle your stock, get it back into circulation, which I think is a really important thing as well, is getting cards in circulation, keep them moving around. If everything's just stagnant, you need sales, you need circulation. And most of the money I make off that just goes back into my grading for my PC. I just really fund my grading and stuff with that.
Yep.
So, and it's fun. I love doing it. And there's no major stress if I'm not going to have anyone badmouth they had a bad pack.
Yeah.
Because it's $20.
Yeah.
I have this thing where at a card show, you go buy a pack for $20, bring it back to the table, and I'll open it up and I'll beat you every time. That's my motto kind of thing. I've had people buy 10 at once, just because they like a good rip. I'm like, yeah. And to be honest, there's probably some Tyrese Halliburton prisms in there and all sorts. I could go through all my things and pick out all the, Tyrese's and stuff like that. I've got selects in there, and they're just in the base card. I'm like, no, I'll just leave them all in.
Yeah. So basically, your philosophy is that you want to aim at the lower end market here, and your other philosophy is that you would beat any retail packet that is selling in that $20 range. So that's basically who you're appealing to and what your sort of niche in the market is. Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't go and buy a packet for $20. I mean, a fat pack, you've probably got more chance of hitting a 25 at least in Donruss. What retail pack would you? A silver? You'd have to hit a silver top rookie to, yeah. I mean, and you're not going to buy anything pre this year or year before for 20. It's all gone up. So before the blue selects, I think you wouldn't be able to buy a retail pack for $20. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it'd be difficult. Yeah,
it'd be difficult, but
maybe a blaster packet, something like this.
Maybe, but you've got probably in my packs, you've got cards from 2016 and all the way through to now. So you get that array of the whole last 3 years in a little packet. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, and look, the only base card I put base cards in there, but the only base cards I'd put in would be LeBron, Curry, Luka, Kobe, and like those type.
The bigger veteran cards. Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah.
No, that's totally fine. I think I really wanted to get your perspective on this because I think what you're doing is quite unique, and I would also say too, it does go a little bit maybe against the grain of what other people, in repacks are doing, because I think the different sort of point of view out there on repacks is that there is that chase card out there, whereas I think your product doesn't particularly have a chase card, but you just build in the value into each pack based on that sort of $20 mark. Yeah. So
look, I tried it once at the second card show in Adelaide. I had a Dynamic Dunks Jordan sitting there, and I had a paper $1 million note of Michael Jordan stuffed in one of the packs. So if you got that, you got the Dynamic Dunk, which was okay. But as soon as that was done and gone, it's like, well, why are people going to buy them for that?
How do you sell the rest of them? Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Just they go, what's the chase? And I go, everything's the chase. They're all good value.
Yeah.
You can't have, you're going to get numbered cards only. You can't have all autos or patches. You have to you're still going to have a worse pack than another one. But yeah, like some patches I'm paying $10, $15 for, where others I'm paying $3, $5 for.
Yeah, sure. Yep.
So you're going to have that balance.
Yep.
Every now and then I might chuck a $20 one in just for, it's really just turning over my own money to just get it all back in one time when you sell them all.
And if people are listening to the show, where would they buy your product from?
Well, it's just hit me up through Instagram, Mr Court Kings. I had eBay. I got rid of the eBay. It was just annoying me. I just found the balance of packaging and pricing the delivery cost was a bit hard. I was losing a lot of money. So yeah, just hit me up through Instagram. That's it. I'll just let me know how many and I'll send them out to you, give you a postage. Postage isn't too much, really. Or you can just find me at the Melbourne Card Show. I'll be there. I've been there the last 2 years, which the repacks fund my trip, which is just what I love. If I can make my flights back with the packs, I get to catch up with mates, and it's good seeing you this year, Ross.
Yeah.
Last year, sorry. Go out for tea with the boys, and look, it'd be nice to get a couple of you guys over to SA in the future as well. But yeah, card shows. I mean, we've got Sports Card World have got their trade day today, so I don't think I might later, but yeah, I'm a bit knackered. But yeah, I'm trying to look. I've been toying with doing a Facebook page. Kat said a website. Do a website or a Facebook page, and I mean, I could run my own breaks with them because they're good fun. You get a lot of different teams and stuff like that. But I've already run an auction page, and how much do you really want to do? I'm happy just keeping it for the shows and getting it into people, getting into breakers' hands. I'd love to see that more too. That would be like when you did yours. That really helped and got it out there, and I love the feedback that I'm getting now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that I've seen come and go doing the same thing, but they don't stick around. Just the longevity that wins in the end, I think.
Definitely, yeah.
The persistence and being consistent.
Yeah, I think what you're talking about before in terms of you can always do more. You can always build that next website. You can always do a Facebook page.
Yeah.
But if you're happy doing what you're doing, I also think that's a really important part of, this hobby too, because it's
I
not
like
really supposed to be it is a grind in, in many ways, but it's also
Well,
not supposed to be,
no,
something that doesn't bring you, enjoyment, or doesn't bring you, so I think that is important, finding your little place in the hobby too, I think.
yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for getting me on too.
No worries. I think we should tie this off here, and I think I should say thank you so much for your time and coming on today. It's
I
been
appreciate it. Thanks,
absolutely
Rusty.
amazing, and I'm definitely glad I got your perspectives on this. And this is sort of a segment I've been meaning to do for a couple of months, actually, so I'm glad we got this
Yeah,
done.
it's a good little avenue because it's just growing, and I mean, who's to say where it's going to be in 2 or 3 years when Fanatics, and you just don't know. You can't look into the crystal ball and see what's going to happen in 2 years. You just can't.
I think repacks are going to keep going, to be honest, because
Yeah.
all these, I think what you said before is in terms of turning it over and the liquidity of it, I think all these cards have to go somewhere. So
They have to.
Yeah.
And the more they circulate, the more they get into young kids' hands, the more it grows the hobby as well.
yeah,
So if I get I wouldn't say five, I say 8 to 12-year-olds buying these. And yeah, anyway, I won't ramble on too much for you, but
no, that's fine.
I tend to go on tangents and ramble a bit. So,
You're good,
but
mate.
I am passionate about this, so I do get into it a fair bit.
Yeah. All right, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Russ.
Cheers. Thanks everyone for listening, and we really hope you enjoyed this week's show. The next episode, which will drop in the next couple of days, is basically going to be part 2 of our discussion around repacks, and we're joined by Jono Michaels from Mailman Breaks. So keep an eye out for that one, and thanks again for listening.